Hey guys, Sean with Long Honeymoon here. In this video, I'm going to talk about a hidden gem for RV travel in the state of Utah. As you know, recently we have been camping in beautiful Idaho. Right about the time that winter decided to arrive. We got caught in the first winter snowstorm of the season in Idaho. And so we decided it was time, once the snow melted, for us to head south into the beautiful state of Utah, where we were greeted by mostly warm and sunny weather. When you think about Utah, you may think about southern Utah and the Moab area. Yes, we did go to Moab. Swadikap. Yep. Give us Swadikap. Swadikap. See?
Nakansi Tamaran. Oh yeah, very close to Koh Samui. Yeah, very close.
That's why they have the ferry on the end of the route here. Because it's close to my hometown. Right.
Kapun Krab. Thank you. It was so good. Thank you so much. Have a good night. I have to say, my instincts were right. We had a very enjoyable Thai dinner. Shared a lot of stories about Thailand and also some tips about visiting Thailand. We really live in a wonderful country when you can walk into a small town in rural Utah, go into a Thai restaurant and have a great conversation with Thai citizens about Thailand and get a lot of great tips. So,
Yep.
not to mention have an incredible meal.
Yeah, the food was delicious.
I love America and Thailand. In Moab, we stayed on Bureau of Land Management land in a campground called Grandstaff Campground, located about 5 miles or so outside of the city of Moab. So let's step into the master bedroom here at our campsite at Grandstaff Campground in Bureau of Land Management land, just outside of Moab. Here is the view from bed. Not too shabby. Very peaceful. One really nice aspect of this campsite is that it's partly sunny and partly shady, because we do have some shade trees framing the site. And so our little living space back here is in the shade, while our solar panels are in the sun. And we got a nice view around us. I would say the only downside to this site location and to this campground in general is the proximity to the nearby road and the bike path, of course, because pretty much all day long there will be bikes coming along the bike path and a lot of people shouting and talking, which is fine. Just know there will be some noise from that, and also noise from the highway. And there's traffic along that highway pretty much all day long, at least this time of year. But hey, we do have a dumpster and a bathroom facility right next door.
Some helpful instructions here. Sit on the toilet during use. Do not stand on the toilet. Do not use the floor. Use the toilet.
But it was on Bureau of Land Management land. So this is somewhat unique in that it was not dispersed camping, but it was no hookup camping in designated campsites. The cost for that campground was $20 a night. So apparently this is the freshwater outlet. Check back with me in a day or so. I'll let you know how it turns out. Now, if you've never been to Moab, Moab is the type of place where you could park your RV and stay for weeks or months and probably not see and do everything there is to see and do in the area. It's fun to look at the different rock formations and find hidden meaning. You know, this one looks just like my high school basketball coach. It's kind of a camping and outdoors mecca, if you will. People migrate there from all over the world. We're here at the Maverick fuel station in Moab, and this Maverick, as is the case with many Maverick stations, has a free dump station and also free potable water. So as you might imagine, it's a popular stopping point for RV travelers throughout the region. And really just an interesting mix here. We got a guy from Europe apparently, who I just chatted with, who's in some sort of earth roamer device contraption. Just looks very cool. Who was asking about my jerry can. We're in line here at the dump station, and looks like we're next up. The guys who were at the front of the line were filling up a 160-gallon bladder of fresh water. So we're going to move forward in line, make a little more space here. Thank you, Maverick. And if you've never been to Utah and you learn nothing else from this video, you should know Utah is absolutely one of the most spectacular RV travel destinations in our country and by extension in the world. Welcome to Utah. Because Utah is home to not only the mighty five spectacular national parks, it's also home to a number of equally wonderful state parks. And a lot of these state parks have every bit as much unique beauty as the national parks. And then when you get away from the state parks, there is so much dispersed camping available on these Bureau of Land Management lands that are in equally beautiful areas. So there's just a lot to see in Utah, and every year we try to see something new. Okay, Garmin, find Goblin Valley State Park.
Which result would you like?
1.
Going to Goblin Valley State Park on UT 24 in Green River, Utah.
Now, where do you find Goblin Valley State Park? Well, I always hesitate to say that any park is located in the middle of nowhere, because as soon as I do, someone will be offended. They'll say, "That's not nowhere. My grandfather was born in Goblin Valley State Park. How dare you?" Let's just say that it takes a little bit of effort to get to Goblin Valley State Park. You getting cold in there? You want me to close this door?
Yes.
If I have to suffer, why shouldn't you suffer too?
Let's try it out.
You know, I think this is a really striking commentary on the duality of man. Come and go and loves. There's room for both in this world. Who wears a come and go sweatshirt to loves? Classy people. Classy people. If you're traveling between Capitol Reef National Park and the Moab area for Arches National Park or the northern portion of Canyonlands National Park, then you will probably come near Goblin Valley State Park. I recommend that you make the detour and visit Goblin Valley. Hey, how are you? Good. Behind me is the Valley of the Goblins. It's obviously extremely quiet here. I can barely hear the rumble of a faraway jet engine. And I hear a few voices of hikers who are down in the valley right now, and the occasional squawk of a black raven. Otherwise, nothing. In the distance, you see the Henry Mountains, and there's a very interesting historical sign here. It was an explorer, John Wesley Powell, who first came to the area, and then Powell's father-in-law led a survey party through the mountains. Yep, his father-in-law. Have you ever had a bother-in-law? No comment. Are you ready to enter the Valley of the Goblins?
I think I'm ready.
Ho ho ho. So now we have stepped down into the valley. What are these goblins we're talking about? Well, the goblins are rock formations that have been formed over the years by a unique type of erosion that happens in that valley. You know, to my eyes, they looked a little bit more like alien mushrooms than goblins. And I was interested to learn that before it acquired the name Goblin Valley, it used to be called the Valley of the Mushrooms. Apparently they filmed various science fiction movies here in Goblin Valley over the years, and it's easy to see why. Just walking around in the valley is a very unusual experience. It does feel like an alien landscape. Well, the sun is setting here at the Valley of the Goblins, and we've had a very enjoyable time walking around and exploring the valley. These hoodoos, or goblins, are very interesting, and of course, because they're caused by erosion, the appearance of the valley is going to change over time. And it's my understanding that some of these hoodoos will disappear, but others will appear. So it's a constantly changing landscape, although those changes happen over a very long period of time. Interestingly, you're free to climb on these various hoodoos. The only caveat being there are no medical services anywhere nearby in this area. So if you're climbing around on these rocks and you break your leg, then you're going to be in for a very unpleasant experience indeed, getting out of here and finding medical attention. In fact, I think the nearest medical facility would be a couple hours drive away from here at the very least. So keep that in mind. We had a great time and no legs were broken. So once again, the sun has set. It's 6:30 in the evening and we have no place to stay for the night. Are you worried? No, she's not worried. So we're just cruising along the highway outside of Goblin Valley State Park. And this is BLM land, Bureau of Land Management land. And hopefully we will find a place to park for the night. And it looks pretty pleasant and scenic back here, so I'm kind of excited about it. When we left Goblin Valley State Park, As often happens with us, we found ourselves wandering at sunset with no place to stay for the night. Now, you've heard me talk about dispersed camping on this channel many times before. This is camping on Bureau of Land Management land. It's basically federal land where you just pick a spot to park and you can stay there for a night, or you can stay there typically for up to 2 weeks. Well, it's windy out here. So we're gonna check and see how level we are before committing. We might need to pull up on some leveling blocks. We use a very sophisticated leveling system here on the Long Long Honeymoon channel called My Wife.
I'm usually pretty right.
She says it's okay.
And our little leveler agrees.
Yep. Somehow we picked a level site. Who left on the water pump? You, Missy.
Guilty dog. Always first.
Guilty dog pointed first.
No.
Somebody left on the water pump.
You're always the one that leaves on the water pump.
Maybe not always.
90%.
Okay, 90% of the time. I'll accept that. So here's a look at our campsite last night here on BLM, or Bureau of Land Management land, in southern Utah, not far from Goblin Valley State Park. We have a spacious site with no asphalt parking pad, really no grass to speak of, no picnic table, and no hookups, no water, no power, and no sewer. We do, however, have a lovely view, and we have some sort of makeshift fire pit that we did not use last night because of the extreme wind. We have a neighbor on that side and a couple of neighbors on the opposite side, about a quarter of a mile away.
Van rooftop yoga. This could become a thing.
We may not have a lot here in terms of amenities, but I'll tell you what else we don't have. We have no check-in time. We have no check-out time. We have no rules here other than the basic rules of human behavior known as the social contract. And yes, presumably the laws of the great state of Utah and the United States do apply here. But you really get a great sense of freedom when you stay in places like this one. I'll tell you something else we don't have around here: light pollution. So here's a live look at our campsite here on Bureau of Land Management land. It is currently around 11 p.m. and you can see the Milky Way stretching right above our camper. These skies here are very dark. We are located at this point at least 5 to 7 miles away from any bright light source. So you really can see more stars in the sky here. I have to say this is probably the best stargazing I have done in a very long time. Certainly all year, probably in many years. You know, this dispersed camping outside of the park makes the point once again. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we had designated dispersed camping areas that were strategically positioned near all of our national parks? So when you went to a national park, you would know that there was a large swath of land where you could park your RV overnight and camp and enjoy some peace and quiet. For those of us who enjoy camping off the grid, who do not need hookups to RV camp, this would be wonderful. So that's it, guys, a look at our quick sojourn through the beautiful state of Utah. If you haven't guessed, I would absolutely recommend that you make the detour, swing through and visit Goblin Valley State Park. We really enjoyed it, and we look forward to visiting more scenic sites in Utah that we've missed on our next trip through. Until next time, I'm Sean. This is Long Long Honeymoon.
Hello, blog.
And we thank all of you who have tuned in to our videos over the years. Before I wrap up, I want to make a couple of quick announcements. First of all, for those of you interested in protecting your RV rigs with the industry's best ceramic glass protective coating, this is the hottest thing going right now. Vinny and Brian have opened a new super center down in Tallahassee, Florida. So all of you on the East Coast can take your rigs to Tallahassee when you're snowbirding and get them protected with the industry's best ceramic glass. Secondly, we are doing some special live streams on the Amazon Live platform leading up to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all that good stuff. So if you are shopping for gifts for the RV travelers in your family, or for anyone, doesn't even have to be RV related, we ask that you please do your Amazon shopping starting on our store page. You can find our page at amazon.com/shop/longlonghoneymoon. And if you're shopping on your phone, I'm going to show you a little trick. Here's how you add a bookmark to our store on your phone. Pull up your phone browser. It could be Safari, it could be Chrome, whatever it is you use. And if you look down at the bottom, there's this little icon with an upwards arrow. Click that, and then you can hit Add to Home Screen. Add to Home Screen, and click Add. And it'll pop up a little icon out on your home page. And you can always click that icon, and you'll jump straight back into our little Amazon site. So that's a little shortcut. So it doesn't cost you anything extra, and it gets Long Long Honeymoon a little bit of credit at the end of the day. That helps us make these videos. Thanks again for watching yet another sloppy episode of Long Long Honeymoon. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe. See you next week. Loloho. How are you?
I'm fine. How can I help you?
I would like the taco special plate.
Taco special plate. What type of meat would you like?
With carnitas.
Carnitas, okay.
And also an extra taco that's asada. You know, I've long admired Mexican restaurants for their ability to take a few basic ingredients and come up with 1,000 different menu options. Little translation: asada is steak, lengua is beef tongue, and chorizo is chorizo. Okay, it's good to know. And I know someone out there is going to say, we can't have dispersed camping next to national parks because people would litter. Well, if people are littering, we need to change that culture. We need to have a culture where litter is unacceptable, graffiti is unacceptable, and dispersed camping is plentiful. A public service reminder.
Hand tops do not disintegrate in a fire ring.
Please do not put canned food items into the fire pit. We don't need a culture that denies people freedom because a handful of people abuse the freedom.
And your cigarette butts don't burn.
Cigarette butts are not aesthetically pleasing. So really what you do is you have laws against litter and against graffiti, and you enforce those laws. And for the peaceful, law-abiding citizens who want to enjoy our public lands, they should be free to do so.
Hey.
I have to say, no one looks sexier when picking up garbage than this woman.
appreciate that.
You don't punish everybody for the actions of a few, right? At least you didn't in the country that I grew up in.
All right, did my duty for the day.
You did. Onward, Walkabout Production Group.
So for here's some